2 months and 2,000 kilometers into our long-term test of Suzuki's V-Strom DL1000, and what have we learnt? Well, the main thing, and I think this is the most significant thing, is that at 140,000 rand, it massively undercuts any of its major rivals in the 1000cc plus adventure bike segment. But it gives absolutely nothing away to any of those bikes in terms of road behaviour and road manners. It's the engine, it's freeing up a bit now. It's had its first 1,000 kilometre service, and it's just freeing up nicely. It's a really lovely power unit. The comfort is perfect. The ergonomics are absolutely fine. The mirrors are astounding. They're ugly, yes, but they do work extremely well. We've raided the Suzuki parts catalogue once again and added yet more functionality to the V-Strom. So where did we start? Well, if you look right down there, you'll see this lovely pair of spotlights. Now, I know what some of you who don't ride adventure bikes are going to say, oh, spotlights is just another little fancy gimmick. But it does actually have a point. I've ridden this at night through a bit of off-road riding, and while the headlight lights up ahead of you, the spotlights actually light the ground around the front of the bike, which actually is quite useful. And another thing, which I think is possibly the most important reason for fitting spotlights like this, I will do anything that makes me more visible to other road users. We know what car drivers are like, we know what truck drivers are like, and taxi drivers, they just don't look. For whatever reason, they don't see us. So anything which gives us a bit more visibility, I'm all in favour of. Now, the next thing we've fitted is this. It doesn't look very much different to the original screen, but this is the touring screen option. Now, I've got to say this hasn't been as much of a success. Look, this is a very personal, a very subjective viewpoint. I'm quite tall, so when I sit on the bike, the original screen, it let a bit of buffeting through, but it wasn't too bad. With this screen, it actually sets up this really quite distracting sort of high frequency vibration in my helmet, and it actually makes your vision go a little bit blurry. So I've got to say that if you're the right size, then yes, this probably would be the right screen for you. So my advice would be, if you've got one of these bikes, you want to fit a touring screen, then see if you can just try one first to see if it works for you. This isn't particularly great for me, so I will ask them to put it back to the original screen, but it's not a train smash. You know, it's worth trying just to make sure, to see if you've got that bit more wind protection. Moving on, centre stand. For some reason, the DL1000 doesn't come with a centre stand, which I think is a bit of an omission on an adventure bike. Yeah, you've got to imagine that if you're loaded up with all your panniers and your top box and your stuff strapped to the seat, these bikes are very top heavy, so sometimes the side stand isn't actually good enough. So a centre stand is really quite essential. For whatever reason, Suzuki haven't fitted one as standard, but you can get one, which is a perfectly sturdy looking thing. It seems to work extremely well. So it's another 2,900 rand to fit that. Yeah, you know what, suck it up and buy it. And the last thing we have done, heated grips. Now, yes, everyone's going to say, oh, you big wuss, you should be able to do with a nice thick pair of gloves, and so you should. But what is the problem? What is the harm of actually being comfortable on a bike? We all know that the more comfortable you are, the less that's bothering you, especially in your extremities of your hands and your feet, the less distracted you are, the more you can concentrate on the ride. So a set of hand grips, heated hand grips, I've got to say I'm actually really in favour of them.